It's 5 a.m. I have 3 hours to bake as many cookies as I can. And I'm working alone this morning, so hopefully I can get everything done. If you're new here, hi, I'm Brooke. I own a bakery and this is a day in my life as a cookie baker. I never planned on becoming a cookie bakery that is known for our cookies, but these things right here have become our best-selling item in the bakery. It's not hard to see why. They are big, fat, and chunky, and they are so delicious. So here's a little behind the scenes of how I bake them all off. As you can see, I'm grabbing those out of the freezer. We chill the dough in the freezer overnight to mature the dough, and also when I then place it in the oven, it helps keep the cookie nice and chunky in the baking process. So I'm going to start by taking all of the dough out of the containers and then placing it on the trays. Most of our cookies, we put 11 cookie dough balls per tray in the 4-3-4 split, but some of the flavors spread a little bit more, like our almond croissant cookie, because it actually has a filling, the same filling of almond pastry cream that you get inside an almond croissant. And because that is so buttery and delicious, those cookies do flatten out a little bit more in the baking process. So as I said at the start of this video, I am not sure if I have left enough time to get all of these cookies baked. I need to bake 1,000 cookies each day because we sell at least that every day. And on Saturdays, it's the busiest day in the bakery. And usually we will sell even more than that. So I need to make sure that I have all the cookies ready for when the doors open at 8 and then keep baking those cookies all the way up until we close that day. As you can see there in the background, I am working with 2 ovens. So we have 2 5-tray ovens stacked on top of each other. I think this is a really good option for bakeries who are starting out small and you plan on growing and hope to expand, because when we first opened the bakery, there was just the 1 5-tray oven, and that lasted the first year to year and a half, and then it started to become really busy and really popular, and we had a line up the street. So suddenly I was like, you know what, we need another oven. And luckily the oven type that I chose, which I will leave a link to below, I was able to just buy another one and then stack it on top, and then it has the exhaust fan on top of the 2 ovens. The cookie flavor that I am traying up right now is our NYC cookie. It has dark choc chip and walnuts, and the reason why I called it the NYC cookie is because this is the cookie that started it all. I have visited Levon Bakery in New York and I love their cookies, but I always thought they don't offer enough flavors. So my whole idea was to come back to Australia, open a bakery where we specialized in big chunky cookies, but we did lots of different flavors, and all the time when you came in store, you would never know what you're going to get because we have such a huge range of flavors. I think we've got over 100 flavors already. Our second best-selling flavor is the flavor you can see in front of me now. That is our red velvet cookie, and it is injected with cream cheese, like pure cream cheese on the inside of that cookie. So once it bakes in the oven, it bakes all the way through, but then the cream cheese is still nice and soft and gooey. It is one of the most popular flavors, and people get very upset if they come into the bakery and we don't have red velvet. We know that we are in trouble because it is really one of those cult classics where someone has told that person about our bakery and about our red velvet cookie, and they're like, you know what, it's the most amazing thing, you have to go get it. And then they come all the way to the bakery from interstate, from overseas, and if we don't have it, people get very upset. But you know what, we always try and have it in stock. However, we are open from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. So that's a very long day of dealing with a line of customers, and unfortunately, some flavors do sell out as the day goes on. Now I'm kind of multitasking between the next few flavors. We have got our double chocolate cookie there. We've also got Biscoff, caramel, white chocolate macadamia. There are so many flavors and they change all the time that honestly, I forget some of them. But I do think that's a huge part in the success story of Brooki, is that we are always creating new flavors and taking people behind the scenes to show what that process is like. I actually have a new video coming up which is about our new flavor creation that we asked on social media on Instagram, what would you guys like to see for the next flavor? Someone commented lemon cream cheese, and I was like, this is the perfect launch for January, because January is summer in Australia. It is so hot, and I think people really want something zesty and sweet and kind of light. But then also, if you're going to come to Brooki for a cookie, you probably want something gluttonous and delicious. So we decided to inject it with cream cheese, and now we have a lemon cheesecake cookie. It takes at least an hour in the morning to tray up all the cookies because we have 3 trolleys that we fill up. Every single tray has 11 cookies on it, and then we have 3 full trolleys of about 60 trays all up. So that's about 660 cookies that I have trayed up before we open, and then I bake all of those off. And then the next job after coffee, of course, because you guys know that I drink a lot of coffee, but if you wake up at 4 a.m. and get to work at 5, I would say that you would drink a lot of coffee too. It is one of the reasons why I can get out of bed in the morning, so I'm gonna keep doing that. And as those cookies bake, as you can see here, I am traying up the almond croissant, so I need to make sure that they are separated from the baking paper because this flavor tends to stick. And then I ice it with lots of icing sugar, just like you get an almond croissant, because that is the flavor of cookie that we are trying to emulate, an actual almond croissant but in a cookie. It is so good, and so many of you have asked me for the recipe for this specific cookie, but let me just tell you, you are going to be able to access that cookie recipe and all of my recipes very soon. I can't say exactly what yet, but I'm very close to being able to announce exactly how you're going to access all of my recipes very soon. Not every flavor gets topped with something. Some of them are plain on top, like our red velvet and our double chocolate, but this one here that I'm traying up with this massive jar of Nutella is obviously, you guessed it, our Nutella cookie. So I'm going to rip off a piping bag there and then fill the piping bag with lots of Nutella so that I can pipe on top of every single one of these cookies. Now they are injected with Nutella. They have an actual big ball of 20 grams of frozen Nutella on the inside of these cookies, but because that's not quite enough and we like to put a decoration on these ones, we have a squeeze of Nutella on top of each of those and 2 hazelnuts, just so that we can really signify to people that this cookie contains nuts, okay? Because Australia is the country in the world that has the most allergens and nut allergies, so we want to really make sure that people understand we do use nuts in the kitchen, and a lot of our flavors are nut free, but this one is definitely not, so we put a big couple of hazelnuts on top so that everybody knows. Now that I've got those cookies out of the oven, I am just going through and piping the Nutella on the top of each of those cookies, and then I'm going to place those 2 hazelnuts on top. It is so much easier to do this with a piping bag, although it's like one little extra layer, like something extra to do. It makes it a lot quicker when you go through and pipe each of those cookies. I do a little release and then a little twist you will see at the end there. It's very similar to the way that I pipe my macarons. That release just ensures that the pressure stops going out the bag and it sits nice and pretty on top in this tiny little blob. Now each of those cookies is getting their hazelnuts on top, and by this time the girls start to arrive at work. Here's Kira, our barista, and then there's Ali. Of course, she has already started with me this morning, and then we're telling Teagues to come over and say hi. That's our store manager. So the 4 of us are working today, and now I'm on my next coffee because our barista is here and she can make me a coffee that actually tastes good, because mine is, it's not the worst, but yeah, she definitely makes a better coffee. The next flavor that you can see me icing in the front of the frame there is our Biscoff cookie, but while I am doing that, the oven is still going off every 13 minutes. So I'm also getting those cookies back out of the oven, and then all the trays are full, but then I have to start again because all of those cookies that I've just baked are going out into the front of the case, ready for us to open at 8 a.m. while I am refilling all of the trays out the back. Once I've finished with all the cookies, it's time to get to work on piping all of our cupcakes, cutting all of our brownies, like making sure that everything else is ready to go in the pastry case, because we do sell more than cookies. There's no denying that cookies are definitely what we are known for. It is the most popular thing at the bakery. It is why people travel from all over Australia and all around the world to come and visit us, is to try these big chunky cookies. So there's a little more info about my bakery and what a day in the life looks like as a cookie baker and bakery owner. Let me know in the comments what you guys would like to see in the next video. I would love to share more videos with you baking at home and in the bakery.